The protector of Beaumont, the small town of Beaumont, nestled in the heart of rural Alabama, had always been a quiet place. However, beneath its charming facade of picket fences and Sunday services lay a long history of tension. Beaumont was a place where time seemed stuck, and shadows of the past still lingered. For decades, the town's black community had lived under the subtle yet oppressive weight of systemic racism. The local sheriff, an aging man named Lucas Grady, turned a blind eye to the activities of the Iron Sons, a gang of racists, who terrorized the black side of town whenever they felt emboldened. The Sons harbored delusions of the good old days and were known for their intimidation tactics, burning crosses, vandalizing homes, and even violent beatings. Beaumont's black residents had no one to turn to, caught between fearing the gang and distrust of the law. But things began to change the moment Elijah Eli Carter returned to town, the return of a soldier. Eli had grown up in Beaumont, the son of a local preacher and a fiery activist mother. As a kid, he always stood up for others, his fists ready to fight bullies twice his size. After high school, Eli joined the army, serving in combat zones across the world. He became a decorated soldier, renowned for his leadership and his skill with weapons. But after years of war, Eli longed for peace and returned home, hoping to find solace in the place where he was born. What greeted him was far from peace. The Iron Sons had grown bolder in his absence. Days after his return, Eli's childhood friend, Marcus, had his home spray painted with slurs and his car set on fire. A young boy, barely 15, was beaten unconscious for daring to walk through a white neighborhood at night. And when Eli tried to report these incidents, Sheriff Grady dismissed him, saying, "Boys will be boys." Eli knew something had to change the first stand one night. The Iron Sons decided to send a message to Eli. They drove their trucks into his neighborhood, revving their engines and shouting slurs. One of them tossed a Molotov cocktail onto the lawn of an elderly woman named Miss Clara, burning a patch of her grass. The gang laughed, thinking they were untouchable. But Eli was ready. From the shadows, he stepped into the street, calm and unshaken. He wasn't wearing his army uniform, but his posture screamed discipline. In his hands was something the gang hadn't expected, a customized AR-15, sleek and deadly, slung over his shoulder like a warning. The leader of the Iron Sons, a burly man named Roy, sneered. "What's the matter, soldier boy? Gonna play hero now?" Eli didn't flinch. "Turn those trucks around and get out of here. This is your only warning." The gang laughed, but their laughter died when Eli raised the rifle, aiming it with the precision of a man who'd spent years in war zones. His voice was cold as steel. "This isn't Afghanistan, Eli," Roy spat, trying to sound brave. "You can't just..." Eli cut him off. "You're right. This isn't Afghanistan. But out there, I fought enemies who had honor. You? You're just cowards hiding behind trucks and beer cans." Roy's face turned red, but Eli stepped forward, his finger resting lightly on the trigger. "You've got 3 seconds. 1, the gang hesitated. 2, there was something in Eli's eyes, something they hadn't seen before. It wasn't just anger. It was the calm resolve of a man who'd seen death and wasn't afraid to face it again. Before Eli could say 3, the trucks roared to life. One by one, the Iron Sons sped off into the night, their taunts replaced by the sound of engines fading into the distance. Eli lowered his weapon and turned to Miss Claire's burning lawn. He grabbed a hose and put out the flames, nodding to the neighbors who peeked out from behind their curtains. "It's safe now," he said, the protector word spread quickly. The Iron Sons didn't return to Eli's neighborhood after that night. When they tried to intimidate other members of the black community, they found Eli waiting for them, always calm, always armed, and always ready to protect his people. The sheriff tried to intervene, warning Eli that he was stirring up trouble. But Eli reminded him that self-defense wasn't against the law. "If you won't protect us, Sheriff," Eli said, "I will." Eli's presence in Beaumont became a symbol of hope. The Black community began to stand taller, inspired by his courage. People who had once been too afraid to speak out started organizing, demanding justice and equality. The Iron Sons began to lose their grip on the town, their reign of terror crumbling under the weight of Eli's quiet defiance. One day, as Eli walked through the streets of Beaumont, children ran up to him, calling him the Protector. He smiled, though his heart remained heavy. He knew the fight wasn't over, but as long as he was there, he would ensure that no one in his community would ever have to live in fear again. Epilogue: years later, a statue of Eli Carter was erected in the town square of Beaumont, commemorating his bravery and dedication to justice. On the plaque beneath it were the words he had once spoken to the Iron Sons. "I fought for freedom overseas. I'll fight for it here too." And in the years that followed, Beaumont became a different place, a place where shadows of the past were finally chased away by the light of a new future. This story highlights themes of bravery, justice, and the power of standing up to oppression, while also acknowledging the complex struggles faced by communities fighting for equality.